Welcome, welcome to my lovely HP community and the 5D collective, those who live mindfully and spiritually, or one or the other, either or, spiritual growth and personal growth. It involves people who take seriously anchoring in their ventral energy, as we've been chit-chatting, and I got to get all this attachment trauma information, and I'm still getting it, and I have the pleasant of being a mystic, unlike the ones who are spreading those lovely stories. Today we're going to talk about why imagination is amazing when you have an inner child adult who also has a relationship with God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, and our clairs. So anima mundi, you accept all, reject none. The sphere of consciousness. Again, pseudoscience woo-woo lady here, but that's only for the ones who don't believe in mystics, and that's okay, because we believe in sciences. Unlike when somebody says, I find it hard to believe, the first days of life means shit. Yeah, okay, so anybody who's disregarding all of that trauma stuff, you leave them alone. Meaning, don't waste your time. Why? Because with every single action we perform, with every thought and emotion we generate, we can create a better situation around us. But that's only if you have a bilaterally, vertically, and overall integrated brain that doesn't only activate its default mode network when it's in high-risk situations, which means suffering and a lot of chaos. So at the end of the day, Robert Sapolsky with Determined says we have no free will. If that's the case, at HP, we're going to have all the ones of us who love to love and love to learn and love to live, expand, and, well, lo and behold, anchor in ventral, the non-reactive nervous system. It's really fun. I've been living it pretty much, I'm gonna say my entire life, but I mean, well, yeah. I was a differentiated self at the age of 3, telling my mother not to spank me, and thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel, for letting me know how to share my story. I know myself like the back of my hand, and my body teaches me more about myself, which is why I'm an embodied feminine. And I'm an empowered embodied feminine, excuse me. The distorted ones keep wanting to tuck themselves into hearts that are broken, and that's why they are in need of Patrick Tiahan. Where are you? Because he's the most amazing of them all, as he explains the difference between blaming and instead accountability. And he's talking about parents, because he's for childhood trauma survivors, healed and healing, I always say, because he has the experience. I'm not with childhood trauma. I'm a child who got to process trauma charges because my mother allowed me to speak all my thoughts, and then as I got older, I just kept speaking my thoughts, so I don't hold my voice back, which is why when you can speak your truth, where are you? Right here. Speaking from your heart. I know all about it without being afraid to be yourself, because my 3-year-old, she didn't get spanked. Oh, and she did get spanked, but not in a scary way to where I'm like, oh my God, let me hide Maria from everybody. Plus, I have a twin, remember? That's why Determined, come on in. So I know where my 3-year-old comes from and why I'm the one who has the plaque that's called bossy. So I thank my twin. She put up with me. I put up with her. And there you go. That's where, love. All you need is love. Yes. And you find those who are true when you know how to be a true badass without vindication, envy, jealousy, spite. They're not Lucifer. They're all basically mean girls or hangover. Very unimpressive. As a teenager, I didn't waste time with anyone that I didn't select in my group, because I learned in a very short amount of time how many backstabbers, cowards, and just continuously facades there are. So I'm just letting you all in on a fun fact. They don't change if they stay non-bilaterally integrated, and if their default mode network stays active only when they're getting terrified because they don't admit to themselves that they have trauma. Don't waste your time. They're not taking accountability for their own trauma. In fact, it's not only parents. It's actually human beings all over the place. Oh, and when I hear anybody talking about psychological warfare, I just think of Michael Stone's forensic criminologist scale. And yeah, if everybody went to therapy, they'd have ownership of their sense of self eventually. And so they'd stop falling for the bullshit statements that the 7 to 14 charming make, which really, I mean, you just give me one of them. I'll be like, wow, that's fascinating, because that's how smart brain works. And it's not because the masses can't do it. No, the masses can do it. They just need more exposure from the smart ass people who tell them, hey, so look, neuroscientist proves there's no demons. Oh yeah, no, everybody needs something to believe in. No, but I'm a mystic. I also know there's no demon, because even in the lower planes, they really aren't that scary, since my 5D body type actually is a grounded in human being prefrontal. Now, it might be my genes though. Maybe I got lucky. We'll use that luck thing, shall we? Or maybe we could use a bell curve. Determined. Come on in, Robert Sapolsky. So, for all we know, again, 5D Collective, come on over, because there's a group of us. We're going to have a good time. Anybody remember all of those books that those ones who like to keep talking about Lucifer say? Okay? So, I'm going to let you in on a fun fact. Remember, I began my life already with Jesus, God, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Mom, for raising me. I love Jesus. He's my hero, and so is God. And I don't have any question about what God chooses, because like Mother Nature, everything's always going to work out, because I'm an empowered feminine. This is the difference between an empowered feminine versus a distorted one who doesn't have any idea of what it means to be a nurturer, which also means you don't know about free will. So as long as people want to disregard, again, self-love, becoming their self, anchoring themselves into ventral energy seriously, please don't waste your time, because they won't change their mind. Their ego is so blind and consistently obtuse. Excuse me, you're confusing science and spirituality. I mean, really, I just learned how if you can't say something nice, say nothing. I'm a whole 3-year-old heart who consistently is like, I don't want to waste my time here. I don't want to waste my time here. I don't want, which is why, again, life's too short to spend it with anyone who doesn't care about healthy self-soothing and worth, because really Cusco attitudes are boring like fuck. It's not even funny how remotely few I have, and I thank my facade friend because he helped me spot the tone, the mannerisms, because he's my one friend who I said yes to his friendship as teenagers, knowing he was an asshole. Why? Why, might you ask? Well, again, speaking from your heart seems at the very bare minimum, those who have a bit of guts, even though they don't, like my facade friend showed me, you think that assholes know how to speak truth. This is what I loved about, no, it's not that I love assholes, is that the ones who were afraid to speak truth just kept on coming up with excuses why they'd lie. So I chose people who were probably more, yes, on the avoidance scale. Completely give me an avoidant, do not give me a person who's anxious. The only time I ever felt suffocated was with, I don't know who it was from my teenage group. I'm like, they're out. And now that I know that I have what is called introception, and then that I'm a somatic empath, and I've been that since a teenager, my gut was good back then, because my gut is still good, because I have a healthy, self-worth, empowered 3-year-old who told myself, like my mom did, don't you dare be stupid. These people don't know what the fuck they're doing. You do. And moderation is key. And so, again, don't waste time. Drinking, fucking, drugging is not Lucifer. It's actively human beings who disregard going to get Patrick Tihan, which reminds me. So, as he points out, what happens to those who have a wounded inner child, yes, they will refuse to give up on a bad relationship's potential. And I have a bunch of people that I notice when they come to me talking to me about emotionally unavailable men and chaotically available women. I'm like, okay, look, you know, there's Terry Real and Patrick Tihan, and you could begin with yourself. Because really, you're bringing to me relationships that have no love in them whatsoever. And it doesn't matter if it's a twin flame or soulmate. Your mind's not controlled by another human being. It's simply not in your control because you don't own two sides of your brain. And when you say structural dissociation looks like this and no, I'm conscious, so I'm aware. Okay, you know what? I tried explaining. So presenting to all of you. Mystics, do not get confused when we have Jesus, Holy Spirit, God, because it's very straightforward how not to play God. Also, divine counterparts is a bullshit statement, because you can only be divine if you have the overflowing of your humanity, which means you have two sides and all integrated brain. And most people that I have seen with the 144,000, yeah, they don't have anything integrated. That's hilarious. No, it's not. We're going to have an extended, but yeah, let's see. Here's some examples from Patrick Tiahan. Those who don't heal their childhood trauma, yes, they find themselves hiding, still hiding, not telling a close friend about their abusive partner, not asking for help from HR about a stalking coworker, not wanting people to find out about the coping strategies, not wanting to have partners meet our family, so we make excuses, not asking for needs with roommates or work, so we pretend they are not issues for us when they are. Our inner adult can recognize that we have some power in our adulthood that we never had growing up. Sometimes that power is just telling the truth about what's going on for us to fight through the urge to not make waves and create more trouble for ourselves. You're not in trouble like you used to be. So here's where, again, as a whole 3-year-old heart, I don't get in trouble because my mother let me even tell her you can't spank me. Then she spanked me. She probably laughed about it. I went to make my suitcase. Again, when you're a child that was able to speak up and have all the emotions, why you don't waste time as a teenager with people who are going to, as my mother put it, so what? If they throw themselves off a bridge, you're going to go and throw yourself off too? You're going to be stupid? No, Mom. I like life. God gave me the miracle. And so once again, as I share with you all, we're not all welcome, those of us who are Akashic record readers, tarot card readers, Reiki masters, by those who claim to stand for that which is God. I know who stands for that which is God, because God is benevolent. So the children who will not want to move on into their ventral energy, it's okay. They don't have to, because we've had them being in their reptilian since the beginning of our human history. And therefore they're not doing anything unnatural. The ones of us who reclaim and or didn't lose ourselves, there's nothing unnatural about that either, because the rewiring of the default mode network for a person who is born into trauma, it's not rewired because of it being taken away. The way that I know these people are distorting it, because they made it not good to have decentralization of the self, because they don't hear sciences as they explain your biology is a smart biology, the cellular makeup. I remember I learned this in high school. It's like, yep, that makes sense. Why? Because nature always wins, because life always wins. Our bodies will adapt. So the rewiring is because you're in a scary household with a distorted, dysregulated human being and more who don't know how to regulate in healthy self-soothing, because they didn't get it. So as Patrick Tian pointed out in his short, blaming, no, we don't blame. Accountability. Parents can heal from their trauma before becoming parents. People can heal from their trauma instead of talking about relationships as being dramatic. And again, as a teenager, I saw that life was too short to spend it with people and mystics who didn't care about healthy self-soothing and worth. So I learned how to hang out with all people, which is why I'll take an avoidant any day, like my facade friend. What I learned from my facade friend is they don't know how to tell you the truth just as much as the anxious ones don't. But at least they don't cling on to you. They just leave you alone, and you get to be busy hanging out and doing good things. So with romance, though, you're not going to really want to be in any type of relationship with an emotionally unavailable man, woman, or they, because seriously, they just want to get a thrill, and that next thrill, who knows where they're going to go for it, because they're not looking to get out of their not securely attached body, like the avoidant who gets on screen and says, I don't want to do journaling, mindfulness, meditation, or therapy, because they say I'm doing a good job and people are all fucked up, so why should I? And that's not an excuse in her mind. So the fancy lady in her suit, she gets to tell you how it's not inherently healthy or enlightenment to be non-reactive. Another bullshit statement also, that we have no emotion, dangerous to have no emotion. Wow. Please join us here at IHP if you do care about mindfully living and loving, and you like mindfulness mindset and mindset practices, and you want to hang out with actually people who care about themselves and the world. I mean, really, we're a bunch of not weirdos. We consider it really awkward to say weirdos. We just, science and spirituality coming together. Join us, and we might be back later with some more. In the meantime, again, life's too short. Don't waste it with people or mystics who don't take self-love, anchoring ventral energy seriously, because they won't take loving seriously. They don't even know what love is to begin with. They don't know it because they can't self-regulate in the absence of another human being in their state of secure attachment, which means, oh, I feel good to be myself. I feel good. No, 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 no. Hey, Eric, I have a tail. I'm not getting rid of it, or my voice. So ciao, ciao. See you later, alligator. That's how it works when you have empowered feminines or masculines. Fuck that shit. I ain't changing. What is this, Grease? That's a bad movie. A bad example to any teenager. So I get to be here for the grown-ups to say, okay, let's remind teenagers what it means to be empowered. It's apologetically not rude. And you learn how to have healthy self-worth. Terry, he's awesome. So if you must, Terry, functional adults. I'm a functional inner child adult. I'm here for the ones who want to have a good time with their whole eternal child. And like I said, we'll be back with more. I have some channel guidance, but not right now. In the meantime, speak from your heart, be yourself, and allow yourself to apologize to those who, I'm not decent enough to be saluted, because, you give them a little bit of satisfaction so that they can think they taught somebody good manners, versus go and head on over to therapists at 50 years of age. I mean, really, it's not impressive at all to meet facades consistently over time. But I have fun stories thanks to them, so we can thank them because they give us things to laugh about together. And we take seriously, again, healing trauma, so let's be accountable for ourselves, and let's support each other, and let's accept those who don't believe in neuroscience, neurobiology, and sciences, and they think it's disproving somehow God or any of our spiritual stuff. I mean, it doesn't. We just have two sides of a coin that come together. We'll be back with more. Have a good one.